One second. Hey there, guys. This young lady just came off a vehicle. I guess you were brought over after evacuating the church?
We were escorted during the evacuation by SWAT team, by the police, the local Houston police, and also by the FBI. Okay.
Describe what you saw and or heard.
Well, we were leaving the service, and Joel was meeting and greeting everybody right outside on the second floor where all this happened. And I was one of the last people to meet and greet with Joel, the pastor here. And I went into the ladies' room, and when I came out, I headed towards the nearest exit on the second floor, and I heard this like a bam, bam, like mechanical sounds, like it almost sounded like folding tables were being dismantled and dropped to the floor. And then there was like, but they were erratic, okay? And then there was another set of like bam, bam, bam. And then all of a sudden it sounded, I stopped and I looked at the entrance and people were screaming and scattering. And I went, oh, no, 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 this is not equipment being dismantled. There's something going on. And then I saw a gentleman, I'd say late 20s, early 30s, but I couldn't get a look at his face. But he was like standing like this, and he had, it looked like a pistol because it had a long pipe on it, okay? And it was like, and he was pointing in the, not the opposite direction, but like at an angle to me.
You think he was one of the shooters or the shooter?
He had to have been, because there was a gun. There was a gun in his hand, okay?
And he wasn't an officer?
No, 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 no. He was dressed in normal clothes. I couldn't describe it because it happened so fast. I just saw him, you know, near the entrance, and he was standing like this, like almost, you know, the feet apart, and he was like this. I mean, evidently that's where the shots were coming from.
I don't know how long you've attended Lakewood Church, but to have something like this happen here.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. I just drove here from Los Angeles. I've always wanted to come to this church. But you know what? I've seen enough movies that I knew we weren't supposed to scatter. We needed to go to the nearest kind of cover, you know, like they have big pillars in there. So instead of going straight towards the shooter, I turned around and started running with the rest of the people. But then all of a sudden there were very few people. And then I saw a room off to the side called New Beginnings, okay? And it was an info room I'd been to before, and one person was going through and one door was locked, and I went, oh my God, I've got to get in that room. And then the other person opened it and I followed them in. We hid about 10 of us, 10 adults in a closet, and there was one child in there. And no vent, but we were all praying, and we were thankful that it could have been worse. We could have been a casualty. We could have been shot.
Have you heard anything about anybody who may have been shot?
We just heard that there were two shooters. One was a woman and one was a man. I didn't see the woman, and I didn't get a good look at the guy, okay? I just know that he was holding a gun in his hand, and it was extended, and he was pointing it towards the crowd.
Are you willing to share any of your prayer? What did you pray?
Oh, absolutely. We pray, you know, God our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy names. But we also, I'm a prayer warrior, so for me to pray is our greatest weapon that we can use during any type of circumstance or situation or crisis. And there were women in there crying, and I wanted all of us to just feel a sense of peace and protection. Thank God there were two huge big wooden slats. We put those across the door. Nobody was freaking out to the point where, you know, they were being physical. And yes, emotions ran high, but the prayers, all of a sudden, a peace seemed to come over the room. There was no vent. We're all in there like sardines. And all I can tell you is that, honestly, there was a sense of peace and people were starting to smile.
I have a feeling this won't dissuade you from coming back.
Absolutely not. This is a sign of the end times. And this is happening all over. The people that were standing next to me were from Miami. They just flew in. They had delays on their flights, and they wanted to get here on time. And they were able to make the 11 o'clock service. And this was their first interaction. But they felt the same way. They said in South Miami, it's gotten really bad. People just walking up and shooting people that are sitting at the restaurants in broad daylight. I moved here from Beverly Hills, and I was there when Rodeo Drive, they were people were just breaking in willy-nilly into all the chic boutiques there. And Nordstrom's there in Topanga was broken into in broad daylight, and the staff are just standing there. And the police didn't want to get shot, so they didn't want to intervene. And they were understaffed, so that was understandable. But you know what I'm really impressed about is, look at all the teams of people that, here in Houston, we've got the constables, we've got the local police, Houston police, we've got the SWAT teams, we've got constables, and we've got sheriffs.
Clearly a great response.